Okay, for the record, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, candidate for Senate, and you got the current senator's endorsement today. How meaningful is that for you?
I mean, it's incredibly meaningful. Senator Tina Smith has served this state so well, and I am just honored and humbled that she would endorse me to follow in her footsteps.
Just like a direct line now from that lieutenant governor's office to the U.S. Senate, or
I mean, I think being lieutenant governor, she absolutely changed the role, and so I've been, really proud of the work that we've been able to get done. From feeding kids breakfast and lunch, paid family medical leave, the largest, tax credit and child tax credit, in our state's history, and so those are things that I'm proud of. But it's, also building on being a school board member, the executive director of Children's Defense Fund, serving in the legislature, and now I'm ready to take that work and that fight to the United States Senate to help people afford the lives they want to live.
two of political questions there. We're just like, how do you, when you run for now, you're running against Representative Craig. How do you separate yourself from her, probably without wanting to, damage a fellow Democrat too badly?
I mean, I think, listen, we've got two highly qualified women who are running in this primary. I think the difference between the two of us is, I think folks have the choice between an institutional corporate Democrat or a progressive fighter. And, I think one of the biggest differences between the two of us is that I'm not taking a dime of corporate PAC money because I think corporations have plenty of representation in Washington. It's Minnesotans who need it. And so, this seat shouldn't go to the highest bidder. It should go to Minnesotans as it always has.
You know, Obviously, Governor Walz stepped away from his campaign because, at least, largely because of the issue of fraud. And I wonder, sitting in the lieutenant governor's office, if that's something that you worry about, especially in a general election.
Well, I just want to be really clear that fraud of any kind is completely unacceptable. And, taxpayers have the right to be upset when they see fraud happening. The governor and the legislature have put, additional policies in place to prevent fraud, to stop fraud. The fraud czar has been appointed by the governor. And so that work intensifies. And I think it's really important that, we're also clear that all of a sudden Donald Trump and the Republicans are concerned about fraud when, right out of the gate, he got rid of 17 inspectors general, whose very job it is, to police fraud at the federal level. He's pardoned 27 white collar criminals who have been convicted of taking literally billions of dollars from Americans. So I think, Republicans are going to have to answer for the fraudster in chief serving in the White House. But I think every penny should be audited. And, we should account for all of it because Minnesotans deserve that.
During this entire surge, he's kind of pushed out the people who are actually doing the work of punishing the people who committed the fraud here.
Right.
So,
And I think that's exactly correct. And, if this was actually about fraud, you would send forensic, accountants to Minnesota and not 3,500 ICE and CBP agents.
who are in the Senate right now I don't know. Tina's there already, and your voices may not be exactly the same, but there will be some similarities. And I wonder if you being in the Senate right now could have done anything to change what's going on in Minnesota.
Well, I'd say this. I think, what I've watched Senator Smith do in this moment is lead with a lot of moral clarity. And both Senators Smith and Klobuchar have been clear that they don't think one additional penny should go to ICE without some pretty significant reforms. And I think that matters. I believe that ICE is beyond fixing. We got to tear it apart and start over because what we've seen is $75 $1.5 billion going to this agency when, we also know that there's been cuts to SNAP and Medicaid, and Minnesotans are struggling to afford the lives they want to live. This is all about priorities. And, my hope would be that, I'm able to continue the good work of helping Minnesotans be able to afford their lives. And I think Donald Trump was really good at pointing out the problem that the system is rigged, but a year later, folks are still struggling, and him and his buddies are the ones who seem to be rigging the system.
We've kind of talked about ICE here, so I will go into the accusation I saw that apparently you're involved in some kind of a signal chat group and directing observers or something along those lines. Is that, I mean, there is a separation between you as a state employee and you as on your own personal time, and that doesn't necessarily mean you can or can't do any of this stuff, but I'm just wondering if that's something that you are doing.
That's ridiculous. That's not me. And I would just say, the ways that I'm showing up for my neighbors is we are getting mutual aid and groceries to families who need it. I've walked kids to their vehicles after school dismissal, and just showing up in those ways. I think, frankly, that whole accusation is trying to distract people from what is happening in our streets in real time, that these federal agents are detaining U.S. citizens. They are violently ripping people from their vehicles. They have killed 2 Minnesotans. And so let's not get distracted from what really matters here. And that is getting ICE out of Minnesota and making sure that people are safe. Because right now, that's not what's happening in our streets, and we deserve better.
Still have to win your way onto the November ticket, but does having Senator Klobuchar in the race for governor bode well for the Democrat, whether that's you or Rep. Craig in
I
November?
mean, I think having Senator Klobuchar on the ticket bodes well for Minnesotans. She has been, an incredible senator, and I take her at her word that she loves her job in the U.S. Senate, but she loves Minnesota more. So her stepping into, run in this moment, I think is really powerful, and Minnesotans will be well served by her leadership. And I like her chances. That's what I'll say.
Anything else you want to add before I say something to you when I turn this off?
I would just say this. I'd encourage people to get out to their precinct caucuses. This is really the formal start of this endorsement process. I'm excited. We've got a lot of volunteers on the ground to just continue to build on this momentum. The endorsement from Senator Smith is a good kick in the pants for us, and we're excited about tomorrow and the outcome of the endorsing convention too.